is why haven't we been more successful? Well, there are many
No, I
reasons.
don't think it's been more successful. I actually run a masterclass on losing the bid. I don't run a masterclass on winning the bid.
Yeah.
Winning is only going to happen if you're going to run in the race. But if you have done only 45 races and you have done 25% success, which means there is no challenge in applying. It's just that the numbers has to grow. It's a number game.
Yeah. You see, fortunately, Hyderabad has got the only city-specific convention visitors bureau. Mumbai has come up, Maharashtra has come up with it, which is very good. So as far as Hyderabad is concerned, there's one choice we offer for the whole city. So I represent, or the bureau represents one city, and that's the advantage that we have compared to, unfortunately, other states. And speaking for the other states, they should follow the lead of Hyderabad and Maharashtra. They should do it. Fortunately, our bureau is comprised in such a way that we've got members who are from the accommodation, the hospitality sector, PCOs, the airport, whoever else. Yeah, so collectively, when we bid for some business, I look at what exactly we are bidding for. Consult with our board members or the team and say, does this make sense? Now, if I'm going to be looking for, and we are members of ICA, by the way. I don't like the fees. But anyway,
I'm sure you like the fees 20
you
years
like
ago.
them, we don't like them. Okay, so anyway, when we look at this huge big data that you have, and we have a person who researches them, that's their job. And if you're coming across an association that's specializing in, say, book reading club or the golf club, you're not going to waste our time getting it. And it's just pointless to bid for it because we are not going to win it. We are not a Vienna or a Paris or London or Barcelona, where we can go and bid for anything. This is Hyderabad. And I speak for Hyderabad. So, and I know our strengths: pharmaceutical, IT, healthcare, finance. So those are the things we focus on. And now recently we started on the law enforcement too. So law enforcement is a very key field in India and is going to grow even more. So that's what our focus is on, and that's where our successes have come from. And I've noticed that when we bid for these conferences, there's a lot of interest that is demonstrated by the people in that field over here. I'll give you an example. A few years ago, we bid for a conference, it's a big one too, called the Union of Lung Health or something. And it brought in about 4,500 or 5,000 delegates here, including 2 Nobel laureates. It was held in HICC. A very, very successful conference. And guess what we did? It wasn't like, we go out and bid like with everybody else. But I invited the people to come over to Hyderabad from Paris. And I introduced them to, of course, they had a look at all the facilities and the venues. But then I introduced them to people of their own field, meaning the lung health specialists, tuberculosis people, and got them. So my job, 90% of my job was done by these guys. These are their colleagues, the guys their peers based in India. So they sold Hyderabad to them on our behalf.
Yeah, that's how it is, right? He mentioned collaboration.
Collaboration.
If there is no collaboration, then you are not going to be able to be successful.
And nothing is going to be gotten by default. You have to work for it.
Correct.
You have to do it. And unfortunately, to carry on, I'll stop here, is to carry on, India has so much, like Mr. Suman Billah was saying, there's so much of potential here. So much of it. It's just untapped market.
It's untapped. That was my key word in my video. It's an untapped opportunity.
And we had a meeting the other day, and thank you for inviting me to Gujarat the other day, and there was a workshop, and we tried to sell this whole concept of setting up citywide bureaus. There have been some good encouragement, good calls that I've been getting from Gujarat, from Karnataka, from Chennai, and they're all interested now in setting up their own city bureau. And I want to help them. And the government wants me to help them. And I think we should help them, because the idea is to give more and more options to the buyer out there, to come to India. So it's not only Telangana, we're all unique in our own ways. What I can sell on behalf of Hyderabad, the guy in Chennai or the guy in Karnataka. So we have our own uniqueness.
Yeah,
So,
every destination has its strength. Every destination has its strength.
Exactly.
And that's where you need to optimize. And that's where I'm going to come to Tanuja, who is right now working with Maharashtra Tourism to develop the first national, for the Maharashtra state, for the state-based bureau. So what are the challenges that you are facing to bring more, firstly for the resonation of this idea, congratulations, because it is a much required one. And what's your journey like with them? See what's going to be happening in the future for the Maharashtra state.
Okay. Am I audible? Yeah, hi. Has been a major the scene in India is not now. It has been there from 1995 when I started my career as a German interpreter on conferences and events. I mean, Auto Expo has been happening in Bharat Mandapam, the previous Pragati Maidan, since 95, for example. So, India is not actually new to the convention and exhibition business. It's not a new player. It's just that now the opportunities, the infrastructure is much, much better developed. So I have seen the growth trajectory, and I'm in a very happy and a proud space right now that from smaller events, now we have come to hosting events like the G20 summit, which we did, which was the biggest MICE event, which I would say. Coming to my role in helping set up this Maharashtra Convention Bureau, it was very much needed. This call has been given by the Ministry of Tourism for many, many years now, and I consider Suman Billa sir not, of course he's a very senior bureaucrat, but I consider him as our team leader. He's been in the space, he knows how the tourism industry functions, he also knows the challenges that the government faces. So while you give a mandate to a state, our government machinery is such that it takes time. What I really like about what Maharashtra has done is that it had the foresight and to bring in a person from the outside to actually help them set up this particular bureau. And it's not just me. I mean, there were many, many discussions for this bureau which started way back in 23. I mean, Thomas, my friend, has been a part of these discussions as well. And when I got this opportunity, when I was asked by our principal secretary and the tourism minister that you understand this business, will you help us set this bureau? Because we don't know, not everybody knows what MICE is. Yeah? So I would say that within 1 year from the date of announcing to formation and to where we stand today, we just completed an MOU with JWC as strategic partners. We are talking to ICCA to bring on the training. So you are already on board, as you know. So I think it's a full circle that I've come today with this bureau. I'm very happy that I'm part of it. But it's still just the beginning. But well begun is half done. And I think Maharashtra, the financial capital, Mumbai is the financial capital. So after Delhi, I feel this is the space that we will grow by leaps and bounds, provided that we engage with the right partners, we get a great governing council, and we choose the right people to run the bureau, and only then it will be a successful model. But kudos to Maharashtra for recognizing the importance of private-public partnership and the advantage which the policy makers and senior bureaucrats had the foresight to get this going, and it happened. So that's that. I was just at the right place at the right time.
Thank you, Tanuja. And I think 2 points that I must say is You've been having a conversation since 2023, and I first met Mr. Villa in 2024. Thomas, who had invited us to Geo for the event that was launched there. And we've been talking to Sir from last 3 years in order to establish the bureaus in not just one state, but all over India. And but of course we are working, and as you said, MICE is not known to everybody, and we are thankful for G20 that happened, that brought India on the map. And when Shri Narendra Modi mentioned the word MICE, it just brings so much of value, and everybody, it resonates with everybody that, oh, you know, we need to work on the whole MICE rather than just work on one sector. So I want to ask, where does the accountability lie? We have now the State Bureau, you know, you will be the owner of the National Bureau, and you are a City Bureau. So where does the main accountability of bringing India in the top 5 on the global platform for business events or for association events? Where is the accountability here? Who plays what role?
I think accountability will be at all levels, at all the 3 levels, and there will be a... So I think unless all of us get together and we work together, we will not be able to deliver. The challenge today is that you mentioned the Honorable Prime Minister, and he's fully aware of the potential. In fact, when we made a presentation to him last May, he said, I did this, you know, entire G20 piece, and I took it to 60 cities where we said we will do. Not because it was, I could not have chosen to have gone to cities which are well endowed for doing this, where it would have been easier. The only reason I did it was because I wanted to give a leg up to the MICE segment. And he was a little bit disappointed because he said that I put in such a lot of effort, but I don't think that is translating into growth the way that we want it to happen. So I think there is a little bit of a disconnect, because at the highest level, there is a realization of what MICE can do for the country. But I think when it drops down to the state level and, you know, at the local level, there is probably that realization is not so vivid or so clear. What we have next to us, both Gary and Tanuja, represent the best examples of how, you know, states have worked. Hyderabad has had this bureau for at least 20 years, and I think they have started recently. But what we need is, we need the rest of the states, rest of the cities to come to the party to understand what this recognition is. So some part of the work also has to rest with us, because we need to make a case and we need to show as to how this can be transformative for them. Once they see the value of what it offers, I'm sure the states will come on. But I think today there is still that gap between the potential and communicating as to what the potential can translate to various other states. So one of the things that we've been doing along with Suraj is that we've been having these regional meetings where we've called people, secretaries from all the states, and we've said, what is it that we need to do? Gary mentioned about how last month we had this meeting in Kevadia in Gujarat, where we called all the states, all the secretaries of all the state tourism to come there, and then we gave 1 hour to Gary to come and make a presentation on what does it mean to have a
City Bureau,
City Convention Promotion Bureau, how do you set it up, and what are the advantages that it does. So we're trying to move the needle. So what we do is that, you know, and shortly we would be announcing that, is that we're going to put a corpus for supporting MICE events. And the way that it is going to work is that if you want to access that corpus, you need to have, the condition precedent is you need to have a promotion bureau. It is that promotion bureau which will decide that these are the ones that we're going to go and do. They need to be endorsed by the state government, and then when it comes to the center and they say that this is what we want to do, this is the money we are willing to put on the table to make this happen, and then the government will match dollar to dollar with what has been put on the table by the state. We think that if we create this framework, it would work as an incentive for the states to also come and get onto this. So this is a little bit of work that we have in hand, because on the positive side, you have India, which is in a very good spot and it is growing and all of that, and the industry is doing well. But I think what we need to do is to cover this distance between perception and performance.
I have 2 things from your comment. One is that, what is your model of state bureau or city bureaus? which I presume it will be either PPP or government based, it could be any of them. But when you say how will you cover for the lost bid? Because every bid requires investment, right? So it's not just about winning the bid, it's always, so is that going to be for the lost bid as well?
Sure, sure. Okay, so there are two parts to it. The first is what is the model? We think that the primary model has to be at the city level, because essentially it is about how do we converge the interests of all the players to come together. At the state model, it gets a little bit more diffuse. So I think the city needs to have a professional CEO. They need to have the industry on board. They need to have the state tourism, etc., everybody else on board. But the city by itself might not have the resources that are necessary to put the city on the mice map, which means that in India it is essentially the center and the state, which
The state, yeah.
where bulk of the resources lie. So I think we need to have a state level bureau or a cell or whatever
Head,
you
yeah,
call
a head.
to essentially promote the cities and to underwrite the costs that are necessary. Then the city is the one which is taking that decision. The state is the one which is championing it, underwriting it, and then they're coming to the government of India for support. So the second question that you've asked is how do you cover for the lost bids? So there are two costs that will come. One is for making the bid. The second is when you win the bid, there will be some cost which will come, like underwriting a gala dinner or whatever it is that you have made the bid for. So we can provision for both, and we can put some amount of money saying that you guys go and make the bids if you think whatever, but let us know which are the ones you're doing. Never mind if you lose the bids, we will underwrite, that cost still. The second part is if you do win the bid and you come back, then we will sort of see what we can do, because as one of the things that was raised is not about what is it that the event can do to the ecosystem, of that city,
The economic
that
impact,
state.
of course. What is it going to
Exactly,
bring?
and I think that is how we need to sort of pitch. Look at what your GST earnings are going to be, and how do you sort of, position yourself onto that.
And you're also going to be, as a country, to be represented in international shows, because today what we miss is that business event side of India is not there in the international market to position India before they come to the state or to the city. So that would be also your...
Yeah, so I think that's a very vital point, and that is something that we are working in parallel with an agency called the ITPO, the India Trade Promotion Organization. So they are the ones who have the Bharat Mandapam. But their original mandate is not to run Bharat Mandapam as an asset owner. Their original mandate is to improve trade promotion all across the country. But I think somewhere along the line they sort of got restricted to Bharat Mandapam. Now again there is a certain direction which has come from the Honorable Prime Minister, so we are reworking it. So what the ITPO will do is two things, and we will be jointly working with the ITPO. The first is, how do we look at which are the major events that India should be participating around the world, and how do we make that happen? How do we make these large, India pavilions which are, sort of sitting there, and, how do we do the touch and feel, etc. So ITPO will come and take on that position. The second thing is, how do we incubate events within the country? Like, for example, Chennai is a large automotive hub. How do we make a large automotive show, to happen? And that is something where ITPO and Incredible India will work together to make things
Great.
happen.
Thank you so much. I want to leave the audience with one final... Sure.
Piggybacking on Mr. thing. We are working in silos, unfortunately. And we are, let's be
That was
honest.
my next.
Not for too long, though. Hopefully it's not going to be for too long. And so each one is doing their own thing. So it's not only the city that's doing their own thing, or the tourism board, it's the different entities too, the hotels, the PCOs. They're doing their own thing. It's all fragmented. So there's no one uniform voice.
And I think Bureau is the solution, right?
That's why the
That is...
The city bureau, or even ICPB, Mr. Bulilla, we run, if I'm going to be bidding for something, there's a thing called an economic impact model. It's very simple. Actually, it's very, very simple. And it just sounds like a very complicated word, but it's not. It can be made very complicated. So we run a quick economic impact model. It basically shows what this one conference that I'm bidding for.
Going to generate
or
for
that
you.
we are bidding for. Forgive me for using the word I. We are so small. The bureau is so small. But anyway, that this is what your return is going to be, Mr. Government. Ms. Government.
It's always
So-
about ROI, right?
Exactly, and the numbers speak for themselves.
Yes.
So that's number one. Number two is before the bureau got started, HCBB, otherwise Convention Business Bureau, the state government commissioned ISB, the Indian School of Business, to do a feasibility study on a marketing organization for the city. They did a very, very elaborate report. And it basically, the bottom line was that they said it's a no-brainer. Yes, you've got everything. No,
I mean,
go for
that's
it.
what we are talking to Maharashtra
And you should
Convention
do
Bureau.
that, absolutely.
Because we are doing an economic impact report. I mean, of course, it will be for Maharashtra, but it should be done at the country level. And along with that, we have
to present the moment to us. Mike's ecosystems, and we have a phenomenal moderator, a senior group director at Inform Markets India and publisher of Travel Trends Today T3 with over 28 years in exhibition, media and events. She has built and scaled flagship B2B platforms across SATTE, NJF, INMEX, SMM India, and Cosmoprof India. An executive committee member of the Indian Exhibition Industry Association, she champions innovation, diversity, and mentorship while driving strategic. Gentlemen, put your hands together, make some noise as I invite on stage Ms. Pallavi Mehra. Center and Jaipur Exhibition Center and Convention Center, a visionary strategist and pre-opening expert. He brings extensive expertise in luxury hotel operations, marketing, and driving operational excellence through Six Sigma methodologies, consistently delivering world-class hospitality experiences. Requesting Mr. Manoj. Also inviting Mr. Thomas Joseph, Vice President, Business Development, Geo World Convention Center. With 20 plus years across Australia, the Middle East and India, he's led venues, launches and secured major international congress and world-class centers like IC centers. Make some noise for Mr. Thomas Joseph. And also joining there is Mr. Nagesh Pampati, Managing Director Pampati Aero World Holidays. A civic leader and tourism strategist with 35 has led major initiatives across Andhra Pradesh Travel Mart and the UN World Trade Organization Conference on Sustainable Tourism, helped shape tourism institutions and DPRs, and has trained over 100,000 youth. That sets the context. We would also like to invite the Senior Director, Head of Marketing, Bangalore International Exhibition Center, with 28 plus years in exhibitions, venue operations and sustainable infrastructure. He has led BIEC's expansion into India's leading green exhibition venue and champions ESG-driven, financially resilient event ecosystem. Ladies and gentlemen, Ahmad. Let's pump up the music because people are capturing on their phones. So pump up the music. With that, giving the stage to Ms. Pallavi Mehra.
So I have been, I've been asked or advised or propel us into the top 5 MICE markets. The real challenge lies not just in infrastructure or demand, it lies in the coordination. If you asked an international event organizer in Singapore, Dubai, or Frankfurt today, whether India is on their shortlist for major association congress, far too many would still hesitate, and this got endorsed by our friend from JWC a while back. Not because we lack ambition, but because the numbers also reveal a stark infrastructure deficit. Despite of our mega venues, India currently has over 70 dedicated exhibition venues with gross exhibition area of 7.3 million square meters, around 6 to 7% of China's exhibition footprint. Branded hotel occupancies have hit a decade high of 67.5%, creating an acute room shortage for mega events. With an already tight supply pipeline, rising fuel, logistic and operational costs are pushing hotel tariffs and event organizing budgets well beyond what many international associations are willing to absorb. The experience of actually bringing a 5,000 delegate international congress to India, navigating a multi-city of municipal and police approvals, dealing with an e-conference visa that still presents friction for large groups, and finding reliable fiber-grade digital ecosystem in cities beyond Delhi, Mumbai remains harder than it's needed to be. The gap, we've all identified the gap, and I have an extreme I have a panel of experts here, so I would not take more time, and I think I'll go straight with my first question. And Ubaid, I'm going to start with you. India is investing heavily in convention and exhibition infrastructure. As someone representing VIEC, IEIA, and ICPB, what policy reforms and ecosystem interventions are needed to ensure these investments translate into globally competitive and commercially sustainable destinations?
Hi everyone. Pallavi, have a glass of water. Have a glass of water.
I will.
Okay, so to answer your question, see, India is having lot many exhibition centers and convention centers as of now. So there is no dirt for that particular thing. What we require next is a phase in which three important things has to be done. First, we should have a MICE policy by the Government of India. We do have, but we need to have a policy in which all the stakeholders are taken into consideration. Whether it is venues, whether it is destination management companies, whether it is organizers, they all have to come together. The Government of India, through its sources, has to promote one India, one destination policy, depending upon which destination an organizer wants to come and do an event. They should first approach to the Government of India. They should take prior necessity approvals from them, and the government should support both nationally and internationally so that the industry can grow. See, we are talking about 5 trillion, 10 trillion, 30 trillions, Viksit Bharat and all that. That can only happen once the government becomes enabler to it. We as a venues, we have world-class venues, both in Jaipur, Mumbai, PIEC, Bangalore, Hitex we are sitting into, all those are world-class venues. But still, if you see, the total share of exhibitions and conferences that we do in India is very minuscule.
I think, the point that you well made right now was very well covered in the panel before us. So I'll stop you right there, and I'll come to you, Manoj. The Thai Global Summit and multiple national scale conventions in the past year. But Jaipur is still considered as a tier 2 MICE destination by most international organizers. What is the single biggest practical barrier stopping Jaipur or any city of its kind from being shortlisted for major rotating international association congress? We are not talking about exhibitions here, but large congresses.
Right, thank you, Pallavi, and great to be here. I think Ubaid had some excellent points. GMT right now, this session should have been before that. But anyway, coming to your question, I'd like to actually bring your attention to a tier 2 city, which in the last year has seen maximum growth, be it business industry, be it the startup industry, be it the lifestyle industry, or be it the luxury industry. I'm talking about a city which has seen a growth of 16% year on year, which is a national average of 3 times, and has beaten the GDP of Indore and Lucknow, which is supposed to be really heavily and fastly growing tier 2, tier 3 cities.